When you're able to enter a room that most people are kept out of, don't get comfortable. Go back, open the door, and bring more people in. One of my college professors told me that, and that's always been one of the guiding principles behind doing this YouTube channel. And because of that, I've been able to talk to high-level investors in a way that most beginners just don't get to. So I recently asked 15 millionaire investors for their secret sauce and advice on finding success. And today, I want to share those lessons with you guys. It's the reason that I started the new podcast channel, Listen In with Lili Invest, where you can hear longer versions of some of the same conversations you'll see in this video. And finally, it's how I got a super cool bonus for you guys. Sharad is one of the investors who shares his secrets to success in this video, and he's also the owner of Resimply. And while we were talking, he agreed to give you guys a $300 discount to their first deal challenge. Now, Resimply is a CRM platform that helps you to automate follow-ups with your leads, record conversations with them, and more. And so many beginners just need a small push in the right direction. Simple tools that do important tasks and someone to ask questions when they get stuck. And the Resimply challenge provides all of that and more. So shout out to Sharad for giving you guys that huge discount, and the link to that will be in the very first comment in the comment section. In addition to Sharad's advice about how to learn anything you're interested in, 14 other investors also shared their advice that I'll break up into 3 categories: finding deals, closing deals, and scaling up to millions. First off, we've got Jamil Damji. Now, I've really enjoyed getting to know Jamil, and I was blown away by how he's taken the hardest part of finding deals and made that his key to success. Now, most of us talk to one homeowner and we move on and we find one homeowner and we do one more deal. But Jamil approaches this differently. He gets all of his deals from wholesalers and real estate agents, and he focuses on doing repeat partnership deals with them so that they can use his amazing database of buyers to complete the purchase.
My secret sauce is relationships. All of our deal flow come from other wholesalers and agents, and what we bring to the table is distribution. So we have, our secret sauce is our capacity to build the most incredible buyers list that exists. And in a time like now where deals aren't selling, where the market shifted and hedge funds have started to disappear and people really need to find a better paying buyer, that's when we thrive.
So what you heard there is very similar to what OG YouTuber Jerry Norton talks about. I've used his double dip strategy in the past to utilize real estate agents to help not just find deals, but to help you wholesale on market deals.
You've actually done a review on this idea on your channel, but it's where I've really excelled well, and where my favorite way of getting deals is on market with real estate agents. I've just figured out how to really talk to them in the right way, build a relationship in the right way. And that's allowed me to create these relationships that end up giving, it's the golden egg that continues to give, because these agents now call me with their leads. They call me with their best deals, and I'm able to pick up deals without really doing lead gen and without spending money on marketing.
So I love what Jerry's saying there, because I got my first deal using his strategy. All I needed was $500 I put down as earnest money, and I got that back in addition to my $6,000 wholesale fee less than 30 days later. But since then, I have expanded into paying for marketing so that I can get more deals and do off-market deals. And that plays into what the next investor, Ryan, shares. Now, Ryan isn't just an investor, he also owns Ballpoint Marketing Direct Mail, which are those letters that I used to get a 33-unit apartment complex under contract, even though we didn't close, unfortunately. I'll get my big complex soon.
And not on period.
But Ryan also owns Call Pointer, which is like a call center phone service that answers the calls that come in when people get your direct mail letters. So you can focus on just the most serious buyers, and you don't have hundreds of thousands of people calling your phone.
I have 2. You already know what they are, and it's somewhat self-promoting.
I try to copy you, brother. I try to copy you.
But I'll throw them out. The first is definitely Ballpoint. How I describe it to people, it's kind of like an apple tree, right? If you've ever gone like apple picking, anybody can get the stuff that's at the bottom of the tree. It doesn't matter if you send the worst, cheapest, crappiest form of marketing that exists. If somebody's interested in selling, they're going to call. What I get is the stuff at the top that nobody else can reach. So I get calls kind of like that deal I mentioned, where somebody's well off. They're saying, hey, I have a stack of mail. Yours is the only piece I've opened. What can you do for me? So kind of how I explain it to people, like if you're good at negotiations at all, that right there is huge. Just, it gets you in front of more people. You tend to be dealing with people that are more affluent, that are likely to just like kind of hit the easy button. And then kind of second part to that is just answering those calls live. We own Call Porter. They put everything into Resimpli for us, which I think you have discount codes for all of those. But my staff haven't had to take an inbound call from a seller since like 2017. So literally yesterday, I ordered 34,000 pieces of mail. And my guys are like, cool, we're going to be busy with appointments, not crap. We're going to be drowning in calls, right? So it kind of really, I feel like, makes it scalable. So kind of those two pieces. I think a lot of people will invest a lot of money in marketing and then drop the ball on lead intake. So those two paired, I mean, has made me millions of dollars and the people we work with.
In addition to his companies, Call Porter and Ballpoint, Ryan mentioned Resimpli there. And that's the CRM platform I was telling you about at the beginning of the video. So here's how I generally use those three tools. I send out Ballpoint market letters, and anyone who calls the number on those letters has their call answered by Call Porter. But again, that number's not my cell phone, and that number is actually a Resimpli number. And that allows the conversation that Call Porter has to be logged into my Resimpli system. The phone call gets recorded in there, and if the caller is a serious motivated seller, the Call Porter agent right there from the phone can go into my calendar and put an appointment for me to go see the property. Now, if they're not ready for an appointment yet, then they just hit one button to initiate an automatic follow-up sequence in Resimpli. And over the next couple of days and weeks, that will text them and send them more mail and even remind me to call them back. This way, I'm able to get a touch point in with my leads 5, 6, 7, dozens of times before I say, nope, this person is not going to sell, they're a dead lead. Versus many wholesalers who will only talk to a lead once or twice, and if it's not a deal at that point, they just never talk to them again. I really enjoy my conversations with Sharad because even though he's a successful investor and he's a CEO of a software company, he's super humble, and he shares that like his secret to success is not worrying if he comes off as unknowledgeable. He asks questions, he gets obsessed with what he's doing, and I just think that's a general approach that we can all learn from.
If I come across as like ignorant or not knowledgeable enough, when I'm trying to learn something, I'll not try to come off as, hey, I know this, I'm like very well versed in this. Like if I don't know something, I'll be like, hey, I have no idea, what you're talking, can you please explain me? Like if it's something that I want to learn, then I'll get really, really obsessed with it to the point it's almost like, it's almost like a 1,000-piece puzzle that you're trying to solve, and I'll just get super obsessed with it, and I'm not ashamed to ask for help.
This is super similar to what Brian Davilla shared, and he's got a cool story because he started his career by reaching out to big-time investor Ryan Pineda, and he brought him a ton of value and eventually became a part of Ryan's team as well as doing his own deals.
Because I was not good at school, like literally struggled reading, like just didn't like book. I wasn't book smart, but I am good at listening. And I am good at connecting with people and building rapport and understanding where they're coming from, where I feel like smarter people struggle with that. Where I could meet someone, build rapport, and come up with the solution to buy, sell, or wholesale their house, where other people are too analytical. They're scared. They don't know what to say. They don't know what contracts to fill out, where I don't care. I'm not afraid to look stupid. I'm not afraid to fail because I used to work for minimum wage for 16 hours a day, right? That sucks, right? That sucks. That sucked bad. But now I can make $10, $20, $40, $50,000 on one transaction just talking to people. So I think that's my superpower. I was freaking broke and worked at a dead-end job, and I saw that lifestyle where some people, they have like a 6-figure job. So it's kind of hard to like go out there and hustle when you're already making like $100,000 a year.
You've probably heard of Mr. TTP, Brent Daniels, and he shared his advice for getting past analysis paralysis, which I know is something a ton of beginners struggle with.
If you understand progress, not perfection, you'll win in this business. because I think a lot of people get stuck in the education loop. I think a lot of people get stuck with paralysis by analysis or just procrastination or whatever else, right? The 3 Ps: paralysis by analysis, perfectionism, and procrastination. And I think that if you can recognize that, you can destroy it and just realize like the little wins make the big wins happen. Like getting in your car and going and driving and writing down the addresses of ugly houses in your neighborhood, in your area, in your community, that's a win. Getting out of your car and knocking on their door, that's a win. Like getting their phone number and calling them up, that's a win. These are like little wins that stack up to the big ones. So I think that you look at your day and you go, okay, what's the progress that I can make today to either get a lead closer to making a decision or getting a deal closed or learning something different about this industry? Progress, not perfection.
And for those of you that are interested in real estate and social media, I learned from my guy, Derrick, he's also at Flipping a House on Instagram, that social media is also a huge way to get deals. Like I'm taking what I got from my conversation with Derrick and I'm gonna start JVing on deals with you guys that are a part of my audience. Now, if you're interested in how to qualify for that, I'll leave a link in the description below.
Social media for one, which we always talk about. I'm just very active. I've kind of shared my journey, for the last 3 years. So a lot of people have seen my growth from just wholesaling to everything that we're doing. So, it's kind of created that like authority in my market. And then the last 2 things is I keep my word. So if I give a wholesaler a price, I don't care what they're making. Like I will perform. If I tell you I'm going to close, I will close. And then last thing I would say, I'm consistent. I'm more consistent than probably like I run laps around a lot of these old heads in my market just because like they don't get it. Like the market's just changed so much. So it's like if you want a deal, you have to act fast. Like the deal that I locked up yesterday, they were doing a showing and there was like 20 investors coming and everybody's waiting. And I was just asked the guy, like, what do you need to make this deal happen today? And he told me and we put it together. So it's like I could have waited, but I mean, why wait? If the deal works, just make it happen.
I'm always learning from my guy, Tony, and he shares on his YouTube channel all about his methods of investing in Airbnbs. And he's done a great job of using the people in his life to create a team that has different skill sets, but all of them work together to just like power up.
Probably like me and my team. And my team, it's grown since we started, but initially it was me, my wife, and her cousin, which is our third partner. And each one of us had a certain skill set that really made it easy for us. When we talk about the time, ability, and desire, we were able to check every single one of those boxes when it came to Airbnb. So I'm really good at like analyzing deals and getting the tools and the systems and the software set up. And, obviously I have a platform. So for us, like raising money to find money partners for these deals is relatively easy. My wife is super creative. So when it comes to designing the property, she knocks that out of the park every single time. She comes from like an events background. So just like making everything like super fun and exciting for the guests, she's great at. Our third partner, he's really good at like, finding the best contractor or getting the best rates or doing all these other things. So like when you put the 3 of us together, we're like this like golden triangle of like Airbnb operations.
Tony's also the host of the Bigger Pockets podcast, along with another investor, Ashley, that I got to talk to. And something I realized for both of them is that every single week they get to talk to other investors. Like they get to learn from them, they get to be motivated by them. And I think that's a superpower in itself. In addition to that, Ashley shared another superpower, and this one starts us off on the advice about putting deals together.
I love building something, and I think that I can look at something and I can be like, okay, this is how you would piece it together and this is how you would do that. And it kind of goes to properties too, and why I'm kind of transitioning to cabins and campgrounds and kind of that outdoor hospitality is because I love looking at a property and I can like envision, okay, this is an income stream here, this is an income stream here, this is an income stream here. And just kind of like my brain putting those things together, I can very easily visualize all of that. And I think that's an advantage.
Another person who has a knack for putting deals together is Gabrielle Burks. She's on Instagram. I'll put her tag on the screen. And she is like a queen at one particular thing.
Every single deal I negotiate. every single deal. And people think that negotiations starts and stops at the closing table. I start negotiations before I write anything up.
There's also Kierra, who uses a strategy called Airbnb arbitrage. And what that means is to take advantage of different prices in different markets. So she's taking advantage of the difference between long-term rent and the cost of short-term rent. So she rents properties on a long-term basis from property owners with their permission, and she furnishes them and puts them on Airbnb, and then she makes multiple times more cash flow through the short-term rental than the long-term rental costs her.
I feel like with Airbnb, I mean, when people look at the numbers, you make sometimes 3 to 10 times more than you would with like a long-term rental. And if you understand hospitality, which is a whole new industry, you are in for a treat. And so my competitive advantage, in my opinion, is that I understand Airbnb and short-term rentals in a way that I don't think anyone else does. I really just, I feel like I have an eye for it. I don't attract parties. I don't attract all the negative stuff that happens that you see on social media. And I think it's because I furnish for a specific type of person, and we only get those type of people. So like the medical patients, the people who are coming in for work, we just don't have the problems that most people see on the internet.
Next up, let's go into the advice on scaling. Now, there are a ton of people out there who have done 1 or 2 deals, but to become a real estate millionaire, you've got to be able to grow. And so we talked to Pace Morby, definitely a real estate millionaire, and he told us what edges him out over his competition.
Storytelling. All day long storytelling, giving people an understanding of what I'm trying to convey through a simple story. I mean, we're all barbaric. We come from caveman times. We wanted to sit around the fireplace and listen to each other talk. And, you know, it's the same thing with like the Native Americans. They drew on walls, and they didn't draw on words. They drew in pictures. And so if you can somehow convey a message to somebody through almost picture form by using your words, you will dominate everybody. You don't even have to be the highest offer. You don't have to be the most intelligent. But if you're the better storyteller and you're talking to sellers or even talking to an audience, you'll win every single time.
Similar to Pace, Brian found out ways to get great deals done without relying on any bank financing.
It wasn't because, I was like, look how I can do this, let me buy like this. I didn't have a choice. I was forced into it. Because when I first started, I had terrible credit and I didn't have a lot of cash. And so I had to learn how to buy properties with creative finance. And once you do, you almost get spoiled because you don't have to go to a bank.
Sam had a really interesting point about how you can build relationships with the right mindset and how that helped him grow multiple businesses to multiple millions.
We have 5 businesses. Is the reason all of them, I think, are doing pretty well. And it's actually having a mindset of abundance mixed with a competitive spirit. Like, you can say you have a mindset of abundance, right? Like I can say that, and I've said that for a couple of years now, and I didn't know, like probably for 3-4 years, it's something we've been talking about. But this last 12-18 months, I feel like I've truly embodied that mindset of abundance. But I'm super competitive. So it's kind of hard, like, I want you to lose because I'm competitive, but also having a mindset of abundance. But I feel like the past 12-18 months, I've really got a good mix of that where I can win, you can win, we can do this together. I don't have to stab you in the back to win. Like, we can both win, and there is enough out there for everybody.
And then we've got David Lecko, who's an investor and also the owner of Deal Machine, the driving for dollars and property research app. Now, I recently did a full podcast episode with David, and that'll be up on the Listen In with Lili Invest podcast channel soon. But David talked about something that I think many new investors struggle with, and that's the balance between taking action, but finding a mentor to help you when you get stuck.
Competitive advantage is just that I took action before knowing all the answers. My parents actually were very concerned because a lot of the people that they knew had these terrible stories where the person was kind of an accidental landlord and then the house got damaged. But I was talking with people that were successful, and I think that was a big part of my competitive advantage, was taking action and having kind of on-demand access to knowledge whenever I've hit a roadblock through just some successful people that I met in my local market. I knew I could just contact them if I didn't know what to offer on this house. And so I would say I didn't wait till I knew every answer to every possible scenario that likely probably wouldn't even happen, but just taking action and then having access to somebody who's been there, done that, was a huge competitive advantage for me.
If you feel like you're struggling to find that sweet spot and confidently take action, and you want my support along the way, I invite you to watch an exclusive training on exactly what you should do over the next 14 days to get off the couch and get into the arena, as well as how you can get my help as you start your journey. That link is in the description, and I'll see you in that training.